things considering. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Henry Confidential here, and what we're doing, this is episode 1 of Pitch Perfect, and it's a new show that I've created, but we're having some fun, and we're having some drinks, and I decided we're going to do the first pilot episode now. So this one is not going to be as prepared as further episodes, but we did a little behind the scenes preparing, a little 5 minutes here and there just to kind of, make sure that we have a general idea of what we're doing. So as you saw in the title, we are rebooting 12 Angry Men as if it's film / taking place in 2021. So I got Jake Tato here and Antonio Chavez. So the premise of this show is we're each going to do our pitches one by one. It's not a debate show; it's just a pitch show. And then once we get done with our pitch, we're all going to vote for someone other than ourselves to whose movie we would essentially go if we're all producers. So we're going to write them down, and then the winner of that, no stakes, just a little bit of fun. But the whole point is you pitching. So pitching is the hardest part of debates, and it takes a special mindset and a special talent. So that's what this show separates. It's hard to do it in league form, but we'll see what we're going to do. So with that said, 12 Angry Men. What we're going to do is, by the way, the rundown is we're recasting juror number 1, which is, as we said behind the scenes, the person who takes the votes, Martin Balsam's character. Juror number 3, the old, bitter, angry dad, Lee J. Cobb. Juror number 7, Jack Warden, the one who wants to go to the ball game. Juror number 8, Henry Fonda. And juror number 10, the old, bitter white guy, which is Ed Begley. And then the director is Sidney Lumet, and we're also going to get our own new director, which, director, writer, it's up to you. It's not important. They don't have to be both, but maybe. So with that said, we're going to go one at a time, and we're just going to essentially talk about the one we're recasting. So we're going to start off with myself for juror number 1. And my juror number 1, I went with Denzel Washington. I feel like he's capable of being stern when he needs to get a control of the room. Like, hey, we're going to get our votes going. Like, come on, write him down. But he's also he has this little bit, his ability to be quirky, a little laid back, jokey, you know what I mean? So he does a nice combination of all that. So I'm going with Denzel Washington for my juror number 1. Jake, who is your juror number 1?
I went with Kumail Nanjiani for weirdly similar reasons to your Denzel Washington. Like, he can kind of be witty with it, but also can apparently be serious. God, I hope so. Pray for Eternals and shit.
Right.
As an MCU guy. But yeah, I thought Kumail would be suited for that role.
All right, and then by the way, I want to say that the whole point of the show is quote unquote dream casting. So the concept of the budget being too big, schedules, all that stuff, that's none. As long as they're relevant in the time that we're quote unquote filming these movies, it's fair game. So, Antonio, who's your pick?
For the reasons that I think you said for yours, with being quirky, I went with Jesse Eisenberg. I just thought the same thing. I feel like he'd be channeling his inner Social Network a little bit, just being kind of sounding a little bit nerdy, but also just being able to somewhat, be technical and just keep things in line. So yeah, that's why I went with Jesse. Hopefully channeling a little bit of his own inner Mark Zuckerberg. Maybe some Lex Luthor in there too. But yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll flip back over to you. Who is your juror number 3?
So 3 is the angry dad, right?
Yeah.
And I went with Jeffrey Wright. I don't know, for some reason he just always, I've never seen him be some sort of stern guy, and I feel like he has the potential. So I don't know. I just I'm seeing him in so much stuff recently. I'm I want to see him take on that role.
All right, and dad. Jake, who is your juror number 3?
So the movie is called 12 Angry Men, but we're in 2021. So I went with Lena Headey.
Okay.
This juries are not all white men in this situation, as we evinced with Denzel and Kumail and stuff like that. And Lena Headey plays a great bitter mother, I believe. So she goes that way, and that's how that one goes.
All right. Now that I'm thinking about it, I wish I would switch juror number 1 and juror number 3, but I'm sticking with it. My juror number 3 is Ice Cube.
All right.
He like if you think of him as the captain in 21 Jump Street, he can be stern, he can be angry, and he can be jokey, but he doesn't have to be jokey. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean. So Ice Cube, I really feel like he can have that bitterness with this kid. You know what I mean? Of like, hey, blah blah
Like,
blah, X Y.
Are
And
we
Z.
there? Are we there yet?
Exactly. You know what I mean? He's shown he can be a dad technically.
Right.
So juror number 7, I went a little younger. He's the youngest of my entire cast. I went Chris Hemsworth. I feel like he's like, I want to go to the game. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. You want guilty? Guilty. You want not guilty? Guilty. Whatever gets me to the game. And I feel like he can just give off that vibe of like, yo, bro, whatever I need to do to just get out of here. And I really feel like Chris Hemsworth could do a good job of that. Jake, who's your juror number 7?
I also did a callback to another earlier answer. I went with Donald Glover. He also can play that guy who just like, hey man, like, what are we doing here? I want to get to the ball game. And like, I don't know if anyone here is Derek comedy people, but like, that's the one thing where I get to be hipster on. I was on fucking Donald Glover way the fuck before anyone else.
That's fair.
So I'm going to go with Donald Glover as the guy who just wants to get shit done and go to the fucking ball game.
There you go. And Antonio, who's your juror number 7?
This guy definitely cannot. He might surprise you with how he might be able to stand with the rest of my Dreamcast, but he also looks like he's the guy that you would see as like not giving a fuck, so therefore he wants to go see a baseball game. I went with Seth Rogen. I don't know. As you say, he just has that look there where he's just like sitting on the couch watching baseball, and now he got called into jury duty. And he's like, listen, man, I just want to go back to watching, I don't know, the fucking Dodgers or something. So, yeah.
No, I gotta go to the baseball game.
All right. We're going to skip juror number 8 because I feel like it's the most important. So we're going to go over juror number 10. Antonio, your juror number 10.
Okay. Just because I think he's probably done one of my favorite performances in the last 10 years. And I definitely know he can pull this off considering he won an Oscar for something close to this. I went with J.K. Simmons. I think he can definitely pull out the racist thing. You know, definitely better, right age. Definitely can. You could definitely see him as like a racist, although he's probably not. But I just feel like he fits that role perfectly.
Okay, Jake, who's your juror number 10?
I went with Ed Asner. This is the one where I went most typecast. Ed Asner can easily be a super old white racist. And like that's the one where I just stuck the pin in and kept the traditional going Ed Asner.
That's fair. I went Jeff Bridges. Think of his character in Hell or High Water where he's constantly messing with his Native American partner and he's constantly doing the racist stuff. And I really feel like he can do a good job. And he's got the grizzled Jeff Bridges voice that he does nowadays where he's like, oh, yeah, them. You know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah. Whoever them. You know what I mean? I really feel like he'd be able to pull it off. So I'm going with that. And I'm flipping back to me. And I would really be surprised if all of us didn't have this same juror 8. But I went Tom Hanks. I feel like he's literally just today's Henry Fonda. So it just makes the most sense that Tom Hanks is the one who he's like, guilty, not guilty, I don't care. This is, I just want to talk about it. And I just feel like Tom Hanks would do a great job of just being, the neutral. So, Jake, who is your not Tom Hanks apparently? Because it didn't look like by your faces that you guys agree with me.
I went with a different Tom Hardy. In this situation. Tom Hardy, just because he is like the perfect face changing actor. And like I realize that juror number 8 kind of stays the course, but like he's the guy that can get it done on the compassionate level and on the like more like, hey, like this is why level. Like on a Pauly Shore level. I hope not. But yeah, I went with Tom Hardy just because I see him as pretty much the best actor we have right now for that situation.
That's interesting. And last but not least, for juror number 8, Antonio, what's your pitch?
Okay, I went with like the biggest veteran out of my cast, and despite his age, I think he can still pretty much kick everyone else's ass on this cast. I went with my boy Harrison Ford. I for some reason just see him as like being a neutral guy but also being firm when he has to, putting people in their place when he has to. I mean, I don't know. Look at every role he's ever done. I don't think you've ever no matter what age he is, I don't think you've ever thought that that you would want to fuck with him. You don't want to fuck with him, so that's why I thought he'd be perfect.
All right. So Antonio, who's your director?
Okay, this is where I kind of went back and forth, but for some reason, ever since I saw his, I believe it was his feature film debut, and how he handles franchises, my choice for director was Ryan Coogler. So I loved Fruitvale Station, and I just love how like very personal that was. And even though he's going from place to place, just knowing that he's shot like even just one place very intricately, I was like I would love to see what he could do like in a little courtroom, back room stuff like that. And plus, I love his work with Black Panther and Creed. So that's why I thought he could bring some flavor to this.
Good call.
Jake, who's your director?
I mean, like, I almost have to answer this, but who is better at directing a bunch of guys talking in a room than my man, Kevin fucking Smith?
Oh.
All right.
So yes, interesting choice for a bit of a serious topic, but we have seen him stretch his wings beyond just comedy, and I think he could legitimately take on something like this if he felt like it.
Okay. Well, I thought my Tom Hanks and my director were my two, like, if we had commonalities, it'd be these two. I went Aaron Sorkin.
Oh, okay.
Good call.
All
That's
Angry
a
Man
good one,
is
yeah.
nonstop talking. You know what I mean? That's all you're doing, but you're serious. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Whereas, like, in theory, I want to go Quentin Tarantino, but I feel like there would just be too much jokes. Like, even I don't feel like this cast or the story would require jokes more as just like quips and like fast speaking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So even anything that could come off as comedic, it's more of a diss or like a knock on what a rebuttal of what someone said, and it might just inherently be joking or be funny based on that. And I feel like Aaron Sorkin would do that the best because like Quentin Tarantino, like I said, he would more like write a joke. Kevin Smith would write a joke. Someone like Barry Jenkins, who's a fantastic writer for like interpersonal stuff, he would be a little too serious. So I feel like Aaron Sorkin would blend pretty good. Like like you said with your Jesse Eisenberg thing earlier, where he just comes off where it's like, wow, that's really assaholic, but it's kind of funny.
Right.
So the first question I want to ask you guys is, based on now that we've talked about this for over 10 minutes, what is one, if you had to swap two of your castings, like what I'll give mine away. So if I had to swap, I would swap Ice Cube and Denzel. I would make Ice Cube my juror number one, where he can be funny but also be a little more laid back, whereas Denzel is the bitter old dad. So that would be my change. Jake, what is one if you had to do a switch?
Give me a second.
I like you guys. You guys are really thinking like, man, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
I might have a curveball for you. Okay.
Because I actually have one for each of yours. I'm gonna write mine in the chat while you're doing, and then Antonio, write yours in the chat, and Jake, and then we'll all pick. Also, if we had to pick one, we would
want to do it with juror numbers, right?
Just write it in the order. You know what I mean? It's
all right.
So less typing, and you can just write names if they're popular. And if you hold Shift and Enter or Return, it'll make it as one line.
Okay, I got it.
Okay.
We good?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll switch Donald Glover and Tom Hardy. I'll make Donald Glover the main character of this flick.
Interesting.
Fuck it, why not? And Tom Hardy, I believe, can do anything. So, I mean, like, if he plays like Eddie Brock trying to get to the Red Sox game, or fucking that takes place in San Francisco, trying to get to the Giants game, or whatever the fuck team Eddie Brock supports, fucking he can, yeah. Tom Hardy can do anything, so he's switchable.
All right. And Antonio, who? Oh, I accidentally, I didn't do that.
Sorry, I accidentally clicked mine.
No, I did mine in the comments. I'm an idiot.
Oh.
I was wondering why did it show up that way. Okay, and Antonio, which ones are you?
All right, my curveball is, and because I really want to see how he could stretch his dramatic legs, let me switch Jeffrey Wright and Seth Rogen. Let me make Jeffrey Wright the guy that just wants to watch baseball, because I'm sure even as dull a synopsis for a character that would be, he would somehow still make it somehow awesome, and also because I want to see how Seth Rogen would be dramatic as like just an asshole dad. Not funny at all, like really serious, so that's why I'm curious about that.
All right, so I'm gonna go first to give you guys an idea. So if I had to switch, I would switch for Antonio. I would make Jesse Eisenberg the baseball fan, like the Jordan number 7, who just wants to go play, and I would make J.K. Simmons. Or no, I'd have to do a 1-for-1 swap. I'm sorry, because I really would like. I would make J.K. Simmons the vote taker. Let's go. That's actually interesting for the 1-for-1 swap. Let's do. Oh, this one's tough now. So wait, who's your middleman? Because you wrote yours weird.
Oh, mine.
Yeah, who's your juror number 8? Who's your Henry Fonda?
Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford is your Henry Fonda. Okay.
Same initials. There you go.
Yeah. I would switch Harrison Ford and Jeffrey Wright. I would make Harrison Ford the bitter old dad and Jeffrey Wright your Henry Fonda.
Yes, that's true.
All right, Jake, did you write yours in the chat for us?
I didn't. I suck.
All right, well, while he does that, I can always look at yours, Henry, and say what I.
All right, so, Jake, write yours in the chat and just write their names in order so we can just think about how we would fix yours. Or not fix, but we would do 1-for-1 swap.
Okay.
Go ahead, Antonio.
Well, just what are yours again?
It's in the chat.
It's in the chat, bro.
Do yours first.
Yeah.
Just write yours in the chat for us, please.
Yeah. You look befuddled.
I am.
Just write yours in the chat.
Yeah.
Write my what in the chat?
Your actors.
My cast?
Yes,
yeah.
We're live right now. We're helping. You're not helping the pacing, right? Your cast in the chat, because we're gonna look at it and we're going to decide if we did a 1-for-1 swap, how we would switch it.
Okay, not one for. Okay, all right. So
write buddy. Write them in the order. Juror number 1, and then so on. Write them in that order, and so you don't have to do less typing. Or write juror number 1, however you want to do it. But and then while he's doing that, Antonio, what is your swap?
All right, my swap. As soon as I saw how you wrote it, I'm like, okay. I've never seen Tom Hanks play a racist. I would switch him and Bridges. So let Bridges be the Henry Fonda.
Fun fact: have you seen Cloud Atlas?
No.
Tom Hanks has a racist. One of the 6 characters he plays a little racist.
Okay, well, all right, then I would want to see him in this situation.
Yeah, it is.
All these other guys.
It would make sense. Like if you were debating, you're like, bet Cloud Atlas, he did a pretty good job.
Right. So yeah, those 2 guys, because Bridges, we know he can pull off kind of like the, the hero, I guess, type of thing, and just being confident and all that stuff. But Hanks being almost like his foil in a weird way, it's like that'd be interesting. Like, and especially being a racist.
All right, Jake, look at both of ours, and which 1-for-1 swap would you do?
Denzel and Ice Cube, and
that's the one I picked.
Is it?
Yeah.
Hemsworth and Hanks, and then Rogan and Sim. Wait.
What are you saying?
What?
Jake,
you have no idea.
You're not helping us out. All right,
Jake,
I'm gonna look at his. Tato, if I had to switch, I would make. I would actually make Kumail the ball player, the baseball fan, and I would let Donald Glover be your vote taker. I would because I feel like he would do a good job of like commanding it. Because even if he had to like tell a joke to like, hey, get their attention, I feel like he would do a good job of it. And then Kumail, he could definitely play, like the I'm just trying to get out of here thing. So, Antonio, what would your 1-for-1 for him be?
So wait, juror number 3 is the bad. Oh, the bad one. Okay.
The parents.
Right. I would actually
switch.
That's
the only one that I like.
Yeah, I actually really like that one.
Huh.
And Ed Asner, but if for the
then you might hate what I'm doing here, because I would actually switch Tom Hardy and Lena Headey. Let's make the Henry Fonda role a woman. Yeah.
I'm okay. Cool with it.
And then let's see how because she would be almost like outnumbered in a weird way. I want to see how that dynamic.
All right, you could actually make it ironic. Oh, I have a good pitch for Jake.
Yeah.
It's a woman on trial.
Yeah,
And Lena
there you go.
Headey is juror number 8, but she's not doing it as a feminist approach. She's literally
Right.
doing it as a neutral approach.
Yeah.
But the guys are making it seem like she's only voting against them as a feminist, and that's their inner turmoil. I really
Exactly.
like that.
Yeah. And
right.
Tom can pull off anything, so that's why I was like, you could just.
All right, so I'm now the final thing is pitch your general plot line. So it's the kid kills the parent, but what is one general? So I just gave Jake his. It's the feminist approach. So Jake, that's a freebie. You get to keep that one. Oh wait,
well,
no,
I don't get to use that.
You're right. So in theory, all right, that's an example. If that was his approach, that would be the. So what is yours? For me, I would say that because in my story I have okay, I have a good one. So my story, because I have two African Americans who are at the leads, Denzel, who's the vote taker, and Ice Cube, who's the angry parent. I have a young white kid killing an older black man, and in that story, it's like he robbed a bank, for example. But you don't know, or not a bank, but I'm sorry, like a gas station or a liquor store or whatever. But the angle in which the camera sees how he did it is you can see that the kid is close to the gas station clerk, and the gas station clerk dies, but it's not 100% exact that he did it. And at some point in that frame, someone walks in and out and covers, you know what I mean? So there's enough gray area that it might not have been him. So the black guys are automatically, the two black jurors, they're automatically like, no, the white guy killed him. It's bullshit. And the white guy, it's more of a race thing, which is prevalent in 2021. And at the end of the day, you find out that it was really a white guy who comes this, it's one of those where he planned it out where, he sees a black kid in there or a white kid in there. And then the black guy, he asks for help or something crazy. And then the black guy actually does and actually kills it. So it's ironic, you know what I mean? So I said that backwards. So I actually tried to remember, but the point is I go the race approach of what they're doing. So that's my general plot line. So Antonio, do you have one based on your cast?
Jeez.
I got you.
Okay,
go ahead.
You go first.
All right, mine is now some superhero shit. There's like the boys are on trial or what have you. Fucking superhero crime. Fuck the system. And
so yours is a fantasy.
Yes.
Okay.
12 angry soups. No, honestly, I don't have anything good, so I'm just gonna.
No, that's good.
I'm just gonna default to superheroes. And honestly, this movie could work if a smart person thought of it. It could be Antonio, like what happens. Go ahead.
I might say, I'm trying to make it relevant. Okay, I'll take what you said about the defendant being a female, and make it mostly about cyberbullying. I'm going to say that this female was actually a sex worker on OnlyFans, but she was being bullied by someone, and then she ended up actually finding out who the person was that she took offense to, like particular comments, and she actually got so fucking, she was driven insane by it that she actually almost went on like a like
rampage.
A rampage, yeah, I guess that one person, but now there's that whole thing between like cyberbullying and sex workers and stuff like that, and I don't know. It's kind of half-assed.
Essentially, what Promising Young Woman should have been.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right. So, is there anything else anyone wants to specifically say about their pitch?
I did, just in case you guys had a different take. I just my first choice for director. I kind of thought this might be a little bit too small for him. But I was thinking Christopher Nolan at first. But I thought that this whole thing would be a little bit too small for him. It's just like, because the guy likes to do grandiose kind of productions.
What about this as Christopher Nolan though? I don't
know because I feel like he would be able to like just channel every actor's best performance.
I don't know. I feel like that's a little too cliche. And
yeah, I know. That's why I changed it. I was like,
I'm definitely
the mob meeting scene in Batman is pretty cool.
All right. So here's the final part. So pretend you're a producer and you heard their general pitch. Obviously, it would be more fine-tuned, so use your imagination. But based on the general idea of Jake going the superhero route, where it's a superhero trial. So maybe in the Thor universe, I'll give him a little hint where, it's more on those lines. It's going to be something on Asgard. Antonio doing the female cyberbullying, OnlyFans, similar promising young woman meets, cyberbullying. And then me just doing the generic race thing, black versus white. You know what I mean? So,
and should we all run the cast one more time?
Okay, go ahead. Antonio, go first.
So, okay, goddamn it, I erased it, but all right. So I think my juror number one, taking care of all the numbers, was Jesse Eisenberg. The bad dad was Jeffrey Wright. Baseball dude that just wants to get out from the jury is Seth Rogen. Racist is J.K. Simmons. And pretty much the protagonist is Harrison Ford doing the Henry Fonda part. And the director is Ryan Coogler of Creed and Black Panther fame.
There you go. And Jake, give us a recap of your cast.
1, Juror 1, vote taker, Kumail Nanjiani. Juror 3, bitter parent, Lena Headey. Juror 7, ball game person, Donald Glover. Juror 10, racist, Ed Asner. Juror 8, main character, Tom Hardy. Director, Kevin Smith.
All right, and then mine, Denzel Washington. He's going to play the vote taker. He's definitely going to try and command the room and try his best to make sure he's doing his thing, but also he can be swayed. He's got that the racism backstory. Ice Cube, he's really mad at his kid, so he's definitely going through he hates the youth moment, but also the race side taking effect in it. Chris Hemsworth doesn't really care. He can even be Australian in this movie, and is like, "Hey, I'm just trying to go see a sports game. You know what I mean? I'm not really invested in this
rugby.
In this American justice system." Jeff Bridges, we've seen him play a racist before, just a bitter old man, so he does a good job of doing that. But he can also be funny, but also he can command the room with his voice when he really wants to have an outburst. And then Tom Hanks, he's the everyday man for a reason, so I definitely feel like he would do a good job of trying to not necessarily sway them innocence, but hey, let's just talk about this. And Aaron Sorkin, he's really good at dialogue. He's really good at quippiness. He's really good at fast pace. This is going to be a 90-minute movie or under 2 hours. You definitely want Aaron Sorkin to take it, but hopefully he doesn't go overboard because his directed movies are a little longer. So with that said, we did a recap of it. Write down someone other than yourself. So Antonio, write either me or Jake. Jake, write either me or Antonio, and I will write either Jake or. And then similar to a movie Battleground, give a one reason why. At least give a little reason what makes you want to invest your money in that story. Jake, let's start with you.
Check mark went to Hen. And they were both really good. This was honestly really tight. I definitely feel like the third place finisher, even though I thought I had some good stuff too. Good match, but ultimately Henry's conciseness and just everything came together slightly better. Go on.
All right, Antonio, who'd you pick, and what's the reason as a producer you would invest your money in this film?
You had me with Sorkin. That was a good thing, so I went with you, man. I love the Newsroom, and you're right. Just imagining that on a bigger screen scale, remake, better actors. Well, no, Jeff Daniels is a great actor, but these actors and him working with them, and I think he's also getting better as a director. I'm like, yeah, you sold me pretty much with Sorkin, because some of the cast members are a little bit out there for me, but I think Sorkin would be a good leader, I guess, to sort of put everything together. So that's why I thought you had me with Sorkin.
All right, so I'm going to preface by saying this is more of an intrigue. So if I'm going as a producer, I'm willing to shoot for it. I'm going Jake. Let's do superheroes on trial. I just feel like Kevin Smith has an imagination, and he would figure out a way to write a story that would make this work. So if you didn't go superheroes, even though you did it as a joke, it sold me. I was like, I'm intrigued. I really feel like that, and I honestly started pitching it for you because I was like, I really like where this could go. So that is my thought process. All right, so This is episode 1 of Pitch Perfect. Obviously, I just want to remind you, if you made this far in the video, you already know this, but if for some reason you're just scrolling by, this is a pilot episode. This is a drunk episode. We're just hanging out, drinking, on a Saturday night, whatever. But the general premise of Pitch Perfect is what this is we're going to come up with a reboot, a reimagining, a redo, or a remake of a movie that happened at some point, and we're either going to recast it, a new director, a new cast, a new story, whatever, new time period, it doesn't matter. So that's what this was 12 Angry Men recast or rebooted in 2021, and that was a lot of fun. Comment below which movie that you would invest in, and let us know your picks for this 12 Angry Men. Remember, it's Juror 1, Juror 3, Juror 7, Juror 8, Juror 10, and then your director. So Henry Confidential, Jake Tato, and Antonio Chavez, we appreciate you for having some fun with us on this review, because some people came in and out on the live watch, but for the most part, any view that this kid is on the rewatch. So Henry Confidential.
I think he hit the wrong button.
Yeah.